these two guys in their, I'm going to say, they're home-built sports sedans, these Commodores. They're not supercars. They're, by any stretch of the imagination, nothing like that, albeit that Ben McLeod does run a supercar tyre. But these are bespoke sports sedans.
Absolutely, Darren. Delighted to be here at Calder Park this weekend, and very thankful to all of our supporters here this weekend, especially Trico, our naming rights partner for season 2025. But Advanced Car Carriers, Cam McKee and the team jumping on and supporting grassroots motorsport, and what we have a very biased opinion about is the greatest grassroots racing product we have in Australia as we get ready for the start, a rolling start for race one of the sports sedans. Here comes the Thunder as they come tearing past the start-finish stripe, and it's 3 wide already. Here comes Dean Cam, threading the needle up the inside of John Ippolito, who's on his left-hand side. Jim Policena locking up there. Bit of cadence braking, trying to get that wheel back and rotating. It is coming under fire from Ben McLeod. Greg Lynch now having a look, and Ippolito loops it. The car swaps ends on him. Wasn't quite sure if he had received a tag from the rear or if he just gassed it up a little bit too much on cold tyres. So Ippolito out for the count. Have a look at Dean Cam, Darren. He is stretching the legs, making his way through the Trico flip-flop. Here comes Ben McLeod as well in that red car just ahead of Jim Policena. And as you were talking about before, Darren, this is a perfect example of a home-brewed V8 supercar versus a genuine bona fide V8 supercar that raced in period with the McFronnet on it, as Darren would refer to it, the yellow M on that VE V8 supercar.
I do like the McFronnet, that is for sure, but have a look at McGlurkin here. He's ranging up. There's a move up the inside. Jim Policena on Ben McLeod. Let's keep that beautiful red sports sedan, beautiful and red without any marks on it, but Policena goes through. McLeod ailing. He's slowing, and there's a safety car. Maybe that's what came out, and McGlurkin's passed about 37 cars out there whilst the safety car flag has gone out, so that is interesting, and there is John Ippolito still trying to get back on track, and that will be why we've got a safety car. I can't see anywhere else around the track that would cause it, but he will get back underway. So John Ippolito really does need to get a bit of a move on there, albeit keep it under nice control to get the car back onto the back of the field here. So that's a shame. But what we did see off the start there, and you called it magnificently there, Callum, was the Thunder from down under, getting away there. I'm glad you took control of the call there, because all I felt was goosebumps from inside out, and that was it. There it is, gone around John Ippolito, and no harm, no foul. Play on, I guess, is the call, as the Racer Industries car brings the whole field under control. Dean Cam now just looking at the back of it and going, right, let's just go through the processes here. Jim Policena, headlights on the McFronnet, and just comes down there. Dean Cam going, yeah, I'll hold you guys up. I'm not a lover of the rolling start, but I tell you what, he got the 66 motivated for 5-star fencing. He does a brilliant job every single time he comes to the track, Dean Cam. Have a lot of fun with Dean over the years, and I tell you what, when you flip the visor down and you go racing, there's no one better that you want in the seat of your sports sedan. He does it so very, very well. And here we go. This is the that was going to be the replay at turn 1, but we're back racing again now. The number 66, the blue car, the Corvette with big mean Dean Cam at the wheel. He crowds the, have a look at this. Policena is going to torch that right front tyre until it falls off his car here today. There's not going to be a whole lot left there. That'll feel like a 50-cent piece under his under that front left of that car. And I tell you what, Greg Lynch saw that smoke and went, right, that's like a red rag to a bull. I'm going to shove the nose in there of car number 5. And he gets loose over the top of Jane Hill. That's what happens when you power up the hill and you jump it across the top of Jane Hill.
That was incredible reaction there from Greg Lynch. Coming over the hill, it's a literal jump. We've seen photos of the cars lifting the front wheels off the deck as they come over the hill at speed. Greg Lynch, save of the day so far, so it's great to see him still out there and continuing. Jim Policena, I dare say the brake balance, obviously they've got a variable brake balance on these cars, given that is a bespoke V8 supercar. He might have it wound just a little bit too far to the front, given the current tyre temps and track temperatures as well, so he'll be working furiously to get that well sorted out. It's great to see Jim Policena down from New South Wales for his second appearance in the Victorian Sports Sedans Championship. He's got that car dialed in beautifully now. He makes his way up the inside and under brakes into turn 1, so he relegates Lynch back into position 3. Meanwhile, at the head of the field, Dean Cam has stretched his legs out to 2.8 seconds, so that's quite a handsome little lead for him. So we should point out as well, Ben McLeod, as you can see, coming over the hill right now. He's got McClurkin, the company, just behind him. Ben McLeod this weekend, he's got Elliot Barber on the cans and assisting him, helping him hunt apexes as he makes his way around the Calder Park race circuit. So he's got some great help and assistance from a very experienced hand in Elliot Barber, who is a full-time regular in the Trico Trans Am series. So it's a great welcome to Elliot and the entire team supporting Ben McLeod here this weekend. And this is a fantastic battle, Darren. You've been touching on it several times, not only in this race, but so far over the many decades you've been calling sports sedans racing. But there is such a beautiful sight when you've got two completely different cars in terms of technical makeup, absolutely tearing around the circuit and trying their best to extract as much speed as possible, because on screen right now, you really couldn't have two more different cars.
Absolutely. You've got a car that has come out of North America and tuned by a local family. The McLurkins need very little introduction to motorsport here in Victoria. And you've got Ben McLeod, the guy from Black Mamba Racing, and he is doing a terrific job. Built that car from front to back. Had a great chat with him when I got to the track here this morning. If you may remember, over, I'm going to say, the last 6 months or so, pretty much every time we've gone to the racetrack, they've been popping tyres on this car. They've worked out what it was, and they've isolated a batch of tyres to do that. Is he just pinches up a right front. Ben has presented this car magnificently, and whenever it's popped a tyre, it's given it a good whack of scarring down the side of it. And you get to the next race meeting and they do such a good job of presenting this car that you would never know it's had a tyre destroy the front right or the front left of that car. But it's fantastic that they've managed to isolate the tyre issue, and Ben can now confidently get on with it. As the McLurkin car draws right alongside, you've got something that's not quite so aerodynamic in the red car, and then a nice wedge shape that's getting through the air nicely in the Corvette. Ben locks up that right front again, and that is on that unweighted side. So that's interesting, because we're seeing Jim Policina in the supercar variation of the Commodore. He's locking up that left front, so that is under load. And I can understand the right front locking up, because you're unloading that as you tip it into the corner. But this is a great battle. These two guys are going for it for fourth and fifth on the road, as we see Dean Cam skate away with it right out in front. Just interested to see the 33 of Warren Clellan and Tegan Collins there, the mark car in this field. He's made his way up into 7th place. So Warren started out of 10th in the white Mazda mark car, doing a terrific job, as the 72 just pushes wide onto the straight here. But that's how you flow speed onto the straight here at Calder. We're watching the McLurkin car just hold on a little bit tighter. So I would suggest that the red car is getting about 5 or 6 kilometres an hour onto the straight faster, and this is where it plays out right here, getting down into turn number 1, and he's got that half a car length. Certainly,
Darren, the bumps and the variable road conditions are present to all drivers here this weekend at Calder Park. Really throws a lot into the mix. So think about it, you've got these cars on the absolute limit of the threshold of braking performance, and all of a sudden you've got all of these bumps. So you actually have to take a little bit out of the brake pedal to be able to pull up the car without locking a tyre, as we've seen both Policina and McLeod do so far in this race. But this is getting nice and spicy. We're adding a little bit of juice to the soda, Darren. This looks very cool, as we've got the Policina car getting a mega exit as they come onto the main straight, and he's in the slipstream behind the car of Dean Cam. This is a great drag race as they come towards turn 1, but that gap is reduced significantly over the last few laps.
We're seeing the role reversal of positions 4 and 5 on the road as as Policina locks up there, but Ippolito is also fighting back into 8th place now, so he's coming back through the field after spinning at turn number 2. This is the role reversal that we're seeing with Ben McLeod and McLurkin. We're seeing the Corvette leading the Commodore here with the McFronted on it, and the Mocom car just giving us a good look at the gearbox situated in the middle of that car. True traditional supercar style in the 57. Dean Cam cracking back down through the gearbox in the Corvette there. Multiple championships this guy has won. And when Dean tells you about track conditions, or Dean tells you how to drive or present or set up your sports sedan, you listen because he's been doing it for so long. He's got the great Gary Roberts here again with him this weekend, who had retired from the sport, but the lure of a Victorian Sports Sedan Championship, and of course with advanced car carriers coming on board, has lit the fire under all of the Victorian Sports Sedan competitors, except for Graham Gilliland and Brett Dickey. G'day boys, hope you're enjoying North America and the circuit of the Americas and the build up to Pikes Peak over there. We miss you. Be great to have the white Honda here, and it'd be even better to see the 20B in the RX-7 here as well. I don't mean even better, it'd be just as nice to see either of those cars here. So here's this role reversal, Callum, the Commodore leading the Corvette.
Absolutely, Darren. It's great that you touch on Brett Dickey and Graham Gilliland. I think I might have seen it on a Sports Sedan's Facebook page where Dickey got behind the wheel of Graham Gilliland's 20B Mazda RX-7 at Winton just a while ago. That would have been a great experience for him to turn his hand behind the wheel of a different machine. Vastly different from the Honda Prelude, as you touched on, Darren. Looks absolutely resplendent whenever we see it. Making its appearance. Bit of a lock up there from Ben McLeod. No harm, no foul, but he is coming under fire now from McClurkin, who's just sustaining that pressure. He's just keeping the burner. He's keeping the torch onto the back of that red Commodore, and there's that another lock up again. So that issue is actually going to keep getting worse as this race progresses, because as the tyre locks, it actually goes back to the flat point where it has been worn down so far in this race. So that'll be giving him just a few bits of a few more things to think about as this race unfolds, especially when you need all of the confidence in your car to be able to brake as hard as you possibly can. He's got it together as they come into turn one once again. Very handsome straight line handling capabilities of the Ben McLeod Commodore, though, it must be said, because he is pulling away from the McClurkin Corvette. Have a go at the fire being spat out of the side of Dean Cam's car. That looks absolutely spectacular. And it is a long legacy of Dean Cam and that very vehicle as well. It's synonymous with Victorian Sports Sedan racing. But Jim Policina still looming in the background there, filling his mirrors, trying whatever he can to get past.
Great to see that John Ippolito is responding to the challenge as well. He's fighting back. Another lock-up on that right front on Ben McLeod, and McGlurkin goes through the 56, sees the gap. That's a very short shoot there too as well. He stuffs the nose in there. McGlurkin Senior is driving like a young man here this afternoon. A tremendous job here. He's come out of 11th place and he's now found his way inside the top 5. So that is a terrific effort. The timing at the moment is showing him down in 9th place, but we just watched the swap inside the top 5 there for McGlurkin Senior. And here's our race leader, Dean Cam. Will he hold on to it in the 66? Because here comes Jim Policina, the Mocom entered Commodore. And there is the 66, the 5-star fencing Corvette, doing a terrific job. You need a fence done. These guys know how to do it for you. Have a chat to the driver of car number 66 in the pits. He's a chatty bloke, very social fella, as is mechanic Gary Roberts. You'll know him. He'll be very brightly coloured in his track attire. And Dean Cam very tight down into turn 1, definitely covering up that inside look that the ex-supercar could do. And I'm just wondering if it might be an illusion there. Now, I thought it might have been lost one of its end plates on the rear wing there, but no, Jim Policina's car is fully intact there. As they come across Jane Hill, both get wheel spin. Policina looks to the inside at the flip-flop, has to take abrasive action. Just saw the front of the car dart around as he changed his direction about 30 centimetres and jagged in behind the flame-throwing 66 of Dean Cam.
They're in the 1 minute ones at the moment, so it's 1 minute 1.5 for Dean Cam and 1 minute 1.8 that last time around for Jim Policina. So they're very evenly matched on in outright pace, but it should be said it's a short, fast lap here at Calder Park. Blink and you miss it, and there's still just, it's just under 2.5 minutes remaining in this race, plus a lap. So plenty of race action still to come in the opening race of the Advanced Car Carriers Victorian Sports Sedans Championship. Big shout out to Cam McKee if we haven't already. Used to seeing him behind the wheel of his AU Falcon racing in Sports Sedans competition. I believe he's working on another machine behind the scenes as well, so we hope to see him back trackside where we love to see him tearing around race circuits and challenging for success in Victorian Sports Sedans racing. The gap has opened up ever so slightly now between Dean Cam and Policina in position 2, but there's still, as I said before, there's a long way to go. The number 57 just letting Dean Cam know that he is still there, cool, calm and collected, as Darren has alluded to so many times over the past, that Dean Cam is a very experienced hand, so he won't be too unfazed, but he does respect room where he needs to give it. He respects his fellow competitors and acknowledges when they're up the inside and allows them the space that they need to safely make their way through, because at the end of the day, this is grassroots motorsport, Darren.
It certainly
is. It's all their own budgets. They've got to fund their own racing. They've got to work on the cars between work. And we've got a bit of lap traffic here as well, so that's going to play into this little battle for the lead.
Warren Clallan will definitely get out of the way there. He's a gentleman racer. He'll certainly tune up the marked car and get it working for him. He'll push his way to the front of the field. You touched on the experience of this guy, Dean Cam, out in front with this number. So the experience of the number 66 of Dean Cam, did numerous seasons nationally in the Kerrick Series, and that was really where he honed in his racecraft, but dealing with the likes of Darren Hossack, Tony Ricciardello, Kerry Bailey, mixing it up with that sort of company and that sort of experience. There's about 17 championships between those three drivers, and Dean Cam stood up proudly next to them on the racetrack and challenged them for a couple of seasons. So he's a bit older than what he was then. That's probably about a decade ago, but certainly very, very fierce indeed. Policina is just lurking in the background there. 56 has got a time penalty. So that is Rand McGlurkin Senior. So maybe that was the passing under safety car yellows. We did notice that. That I'll only sort of notice that was my observation of that, so that's maybe where that's occurred. So Rand McGlurkin Senior in the number 56 has got a time penalty, and we're on the last lap. Dean Cam has probably got the best gap he's had back to Jim Policina now up the back straight than he's had in the last 4 or 5 laps. Flames licking out the side of the 66, keeping the right rear tyre nice and warm, ready to perform, as Policina keeps off the ripple strips, just points straight at the back of the car in front, and will try to range up inside. But the big size 14 boot of Dean Cam goes down, and we're just seeing the last lap now, board coming up. So we've got one or more lap to continue here, and Dean Cam maintains the rage. He runs that shallow line again, Callum, down into turn 1.
Yeah, it gets rather tight quite dramatically at that point of the circuit, Darren. It's really wide as they come onto the main straight, but towards the braking point, basically about a third of the circuit you lose to your left-hand side. So that's why there is such a dramatic line. And they're better off just keeping it as straight as they possibly can, because with the bumps on top of it, you really can't afford to turn the wheel and unsettle the car under that level of braking adhesion. Bit of a run here from Policina. He's having a look around the outside now. He's having a look up the inside there. Dean Cam coming under fire as it comes out of the exhaust pipes, and yellow flags as well there. So that's one of the crucial on it. Tegan Collins in the RX-7 has pulled up to a halt there.
Well, luckily, that's not a nice spot either to stop on the last lap, because you're trying to set up a lunge. And the Mocom car, Jim Policina, lines up the back of Dean Cam. It's not going to make too much difference as they run the 200 metres down. Checkered flag goes to Dean Cam. The Trico Victorian State Circuit Racing Championships, 888 Home Loans and Karting Madness. Race 1 for the weekend in the Advanced Car Carriers Sports Sedans goes to Dean Cam. Second place will be Jim Policina. And a little bit of understeer there for Greg Lynch as he comes to the line there, getting past on Darden Brown, one of the, he's lapping him in fact, so Greg Lynch understeered. Lynch gets home into P3, and the rest of the field left to fight it out here. Unfortunately, Tegan Collins, that's a real shame. Here's this battle, which really won't play too much part in it because McGlurkin's got a time penalty. But have a look at John Ippolito. Have a look at that, the 97 charges. After spinning on lap number 1, Ippolito gets home in 6th place. There is a penalty hanging over the 56. So it'll be Ben McLeod to John Ippolito. We can only imagine that it'll be McGlurkin Senior. Aidan Munger has got to the line there as well. So that is how they will finish. Here's this run down the back straight, captured by our broadcast. McLeod runs wide, goes straight through the ripple strip, keeps on it, avoids Tegan Collins and rejoins there. Wow, I'm not sure if you're shortening the track by doing that, Ben McLeod, but he certainly gathered it all up and brought it to the flag there. So Dean Cam takes the chocolates for the advanced car carriers at race number 1 for the Sports Sedans. A ripper race there, Callum, that Cam McKee and all of them that put together such a great event. Travis Condon, sadly not on track with us today. Johnny Polito is out there. No, he's not. Yes, he is, the Black Commodore. He's out there. So Dean Cam sitting right next to Jim Policina. Johnny Polito. Big shout out to Steve Tate as well. G'day, Steve. Aidan Munger, Rand McGlurkin, Greg Lynch, Warren Clellan, Darden Brown, Ben McLeod, Tegan Collins out at 10, and Rand McGlurkin Jr. with Rand McGlurkin Sr. is on row number 3 in the black Corvette. And away we go. The big bangers light it up at Calder. They've been doing it here for over 50 years as they charge down to turn 1. Dean Cam getting a beautiful start on the rolling start, but the 57 charges down there. Jim Policina, what a run down into turn 1. That standing water has been soaked up by the 944s and the sports cars. Ben McLeod just getting a little bit squirrely there. Hasn't got those supercar Dunlops right up to heat yet at the moment. Greg Lynch just offering him a little bit of room, not too much, just enough so that he didn't scuff up the side of that tribute livery on his Commodore. And it's Aidan Munger doing a great job in the AMS entry. He's sitting back there, doing a nice job just inside the 5. Here's P2 and 3 on the road. Johnny Polito getting a little bit nervous with it, just wanting to get on with things here in the 97. Dandy engines on the front quarter panel there. Ben McLeod up over the cripple strips, trying to stay with these two there as well. Ben always presents a magnificent car. Started out at 9th as they come around on their first lap. And Ben has landed himself into P4, up 5 spots. Greg Lynch up 2, and Rand McGlurkin, the junior version, he is up 3 in the Machine Cult Calibra, which looks absolutely menacing out there. Bit of understeer there for Johnny Polito. Dean Cam powers down nicely. Jim Policina has just charged away, 4.4 seconds up the road in 1 lap only. The ex-supercar putting itself nicely. The supercars do bounce off curves very nicely. The category's been built around that aggressive approach, and that is what Jim is doing at the moment, just driving away from the field. Here's Ben McLeod. This is not a supercar, this is actually a sports sedan. A spoke-built car. Does run a supercar tyre, has been built to run that tyre. There's Rand McGlurkin in the Dodge-powered Machine Cult engine car number 54, the Calibra. Sounds so cool. Great to see him out on the track. Had issues yesterday. I think it was a starter motor. Had to find a pretty special starter motor being a Dodge. You hear it thump down the straight. Absolutely worth coming to the track just to hear that car get down the straight here at Calder Park. Under brakes for Penrite, the Grim Ruiner, a musician and a tattoo artist, and a race car preparer is Rand McGlurkin. He's got Aidan Munger trying to stay with him as well there. Aidan up to 4th, just gone back down to 5th as the two McGlurkins go through in their Calibra and Corvette. There's the 56 of Rand Senior, right in the back door, underneath the rear wing of Greg Lynch. Greg's getting a very, very good view of the advanced car carrier stickers on the front window of the Corvette. They come around onto the straight. Ben just runs a little bit wide, keeps the power up. I would suggest that's probably the better line to do, just to flow the car nicely. Greg Lynch looks out to some fresh air. These cars look like Commodore supercars. Neither of them have got supercar heritage. Bespoke-built sports sedans, the Commodore being one of the more favourite body shapes for sports sedan racing. Greg Lynch looks to the inside now, positions himself nicely for the run-up. Jane Hill, but Rand is in there as well. Ben makes a very rare mistake in the 72 and just disappears off, loses 2 spots in the process. You have to go to a lot of sports sedan racing to see Ben McLeod make a mistake, and that is a rare opportunity. We'll move on from it because Greg Lynch has now got the black Corvette of McGlurkin menacing him, continues to do so, has done it for 2 laps now. Across the line goes Jim Policina to complete lap number 4, 12 minutes left on this one. Dean Cam bangs across the line there, grabs another cog in the Corvette. Johnny Polito as well. Gets lap number 4 done. And these guys we're watching now. Ben McLeod got some work to do to catch up. And in his mirrors, he has got the menacing Calibra of Rand McGlurkin. So he's got a Rand in front and a Rand behind at the moment, Ben McLeod. One in a Corvette, one in a Calibra. Of course, the Calibra last weekend, used by Steve Tomasi, 2 out of the 3 race wins. Did a terrific job, the Victorian. Absolutely lit up Sydney Motorsport Park. Congratulations to Steve Tomasi and his crew. Did a tremendous job travelling north for that event at the Motorsport Australia Trophy Series, round number 1. These guys racing here for the Advanced Car Carriers Sports Sedans at Trico Victorian State Circuit Racing Championships. Greg Lynch has won races at Phillip Island before. Does a lot of racing. He runs between the Big V8 series as well as the Victorian Sports Sedans, Advanced Car Carriers as well. So has a massive program. Car prepared by the crew at Ravage. Dean Lilly and the guys work very hard on this car. The TA style of Corvette for Rand McGlurkin Senior. Policina continues to lead the way, and in fact he's opened up the lead over Dean Cam. Another couple of seconds there, at 7.1 seconds between Jim Policina and Dean Cam. Under brakes now, the car lurches forward. Greg Lynch in the red, white and blue Commodore. The menacing Matt Black Corvette in behind. Puts up to the side here, but the Commodore gets the power down brilliantly coming onto the straight there. Corvette wasn't being allowed to just run nice and wide there and bring up the speed, flowing it nicely. So now just a bit of spray, still that standing water on the main straight, throws a whole lot of water over the front of the 56. Charge from turn 2 up to 3. Maximum power for about 2 seconds, wide open throttle, then on the brakes, back down the gearbox to select the right cog to go up over the hill. As this looks like Dean Cam slowing down here, so Dean off the track there as well, just forever the gentleman, trying to get out of everyone's way. Oh, and Tegan Collins goes through and gives him a clip as he was going slowly there. Not too sure what that was about, but Dean was definitely slowing, trying to get out of the way as the rest of the field come around. That's pretty much here where Tegan broke down yesterday. Let's hope she's still got the fire lit, as a very, very, very rare retirement, and even some damage now on that right front wheel. That wasn't there until there was the coming together with the RX-7. But Dean, obviously with a mechanical concern, bringing the car back down into pit lane. A very, very rare scene indeed to see the number 66 retiring from a race. Here's Ben McLeod. Got a lot of work to do at the moment. Cars continue up over Jane Hill. Ben McLeod and McGlurkin up over the hill, lights it up as we go to the replay with Dean Cam coming through the flip-flop. Points it up nicely, comes around, and he's gone off wide. He's gone off real wide. In fact, he's disappeared out of shot. Comes back on, and it didn't look like there was anything wrong with the right front at that point, but then coming together with Tegan Collins around right there on this part of the circuit. So Tegan has continued on. Ben McLeod now dealing with Rand McGlurkin as well. So they'll have a ripper run down the straight. You'd expect the big Dodge to have the ponies in the straight line. There's Greg Lynch, and he's seen the black Corvette of Rand McGlurkin Senior go through. So the next car on the track is this car here, Ben McLeod. He's currently sitting in P5 with Rand McLurkin in 6. Darden Brown in the Gallant is tail end Charlie at the moment. Arriving on the scene there, the Mitsubishi Gallant 2 litre. 1974 silhouette on this car. Great to see Darden always the big bangers and loves going sports sedan racing. And when he goes racing the 2 litre guys, he's always an absolute outright front running contender. Ben McLeod a lock up there as well. Across the grass for the 2nd time in this race, goes to 72 for Phillip Island Cottages and Black Mamba Racing. Great preparation company that Ben runs. Numerous race cars here this weekend. In fact, one improved production car yesterday. The car he prepares won the race for the Lehman entry. Here comes our race leader with 6 minutes left to go. He's doing it very, very well. Warren Cleland now with Tegan Collins, and that's actually his old car behind him now. Warren in the Mark cars, the Mazda. He's currently 8th on the road. And that is Tegan Collins just behind him as well. And as I said, it's his old race car. Tegan's got to put a new gearbox in it over the summer, and she's had a bit of a checkered run here this weekend with the DNF yesterday, and then just a moment or two ago, a slight coming together with Dean Cam as he was retiring from the race. Let's have a listen. It's not a rotary. It's a V8 under that one, and she just gets gazumped by Jim Policino on the climb up Jane Hill. She continues to learn her way around that beast of a black RX-7. Ben McLeod now has succumbed to Rand McLurkin. So Rand started off P11 and has now made his way up to P5. So this is an absolute charge for the Grim Ruiner. Penwright blazing across the front bonnet there as well. Ben McLeod under brakes, monsters all over the back of the Calibra. So the Red Commodore seems to have a great set of stoppers on it, but getting through the air and power down. Calibra, a space frame sports sedan versus a floor pan sports sedan. The space frame, a purposeful machine. Ben McLeod doing a ripping job staying with Rand McLurkin as he runs wide. Let's hope that Ben can hang on to it here. Definitely ran wide. Massive understeer in the 54. Ben's gone off himself there a couple of times already in this race, so he's sensed something's not quite right with Rand in front of him as well. So we've still got over 4 minutes left in the journey for this one, and we'll settle in for a ride with these two. Very different cars making their speed in very different ways. Calibra through the air. Ben looks to the inside here. He's looked after the brakes nicely, and a little bit of a lock up on the right front. Was really thought he was right on top of it. The locking up is certainly a lot better than it ever was in the last couple of race meetings, but Ben gets through on Rand McLurkin. Have a listen to that Dodge climb the hill. I don't know how many torques that thing's got, but I'll tell you what, big thumping noise coming out of the Calibra. Back through the gearbox, bottom of the back straight. Tearing it up, doing a really good job. These guys both have big grins on their face here. They've had a couple of passes. Another lock up there into the right-hander coming onto the straight. Gets the power down. This will be interesting this time around. Ben's speed onto the straight was certainly compromised. It holds off the Calibra down into turn number 1. Certainly an opportunity lost there for Rand McLurkin because the entry onto the straight was compromised for car number 72, Ben McLeod. And he held off Rand McLurkin nicely there. Across the bumps they go. No wheels off the ground like we saw in the sports cars. The sports sedans learned from last year to just soften up the suspension a little bit. We'll stay and have a look at these two for about the next little while. As they go over Jane Hill. We're getting any air off them. Johnny Polito currently P2 on the road with Jim Policina. 37 seconds clear of the field. He is absolutely creaming them in race number 2 for the advanced car carriers here this weekend. But this is Johnny Polito. And that rear wing looks like it needs a bit more stabilising. It's wobbling around there. And he's got Rand McGlurkin, who is on for a podium in this race. That's right. This guy's been doing it for numerous decades. And he is on for a podium. Jim Policina has really brained the field with 37-second lead at the moment. And we've got Johnny Polito with the charging Rand McGlurkin Sr. looking for a huge result. The 97 coming around the flip-flop, back onto the main straight. And there's that menacing black Corvette. It's menaced Ben McLeod, it's menaced Greg Lynch. They have got this car finally working, operating in a magnificent window. Greg Lynch hasn't been shaken off yet. In fact, he's just done his personal best on that lap, a 103, and the McGlurkin car doing a 104. So he's punished that Corvette the best part of 14 laps now. Greg Lynch is really starting to come into the back of him now. Remaining time 44 seconds for our race leader, Jim Policina, the Mocom supercar. Up the back straight again. Johnny Polito doing a good job in P2, and our race leader is coming over Jane Hill now, so should be the last lap board being shown to the field next time round, as we have only got 18 seconds left remaining. It will take that time to get around for this lap. I reckon Rand McGlurkin Sr. only needs another lap. He is absolutely switched on, and he's just pushed out a 104.54, 104.0 for John Ippolito, and Greg Lynch goes faster again, 103.28. There's our race leader, and there's the last lap board. So he has come through the field all the way to the cars inside the top 5. He's just driven past Ran Jr., who is in 6th. Then it'll be Ben McLeod. He tips it off. Ooh, he's going very tight in turn 1. There's no need to throw it all away like that. He's lapping the field. And Ben McLeod wants to go racy with him, just gives him enough room. Really doesn't have any battle with him at the moment, because he's putting a lap on everyone right up to Ben, who's in 5th place on the road now. So he has absolutely brought his A game to the Sunday morning race. Must have had an early night. Had his muesli for breakfast and charging now. Ben still locking up that left front. Here comes our race leader for Ravage Raceworks, Mocom, motorsportcommunication.com. And Jim Policina, who has won production car races, production sports races, just about everything he's been in. Jim has done well in Touring Car Masters, and he takes race 2 for the weekend. Jim Policina takes race 2 for the advanced car carriers at round 2 of the Trico Victorian State Circuit Racing Championships, and he rolls down turn 1. Here comes Johnny Polito, who's been overtaken by Rand Sr. He's not only going to get a podium, he's going to get the 2nd spot on the podium. A monstering dive there for Johnny Polito, grabs the spot back, brings Greg Lynch into the run to the line as well. The 97 overcooks it down into the start of the S's there. Rand just opens the corner up. He was 2nd, but holds on to 3rd place as they run to the line. Johnny Polito gets P2, Rand McGlurkin gets P3. Well, what a race there for Rand McGlurkin. Coming from down the field there, came from 5th place, coming through to 3rd on the podium. How cool is that? Here's the replay as they come down to complete the last lap. Locks up the right-hand rear there. Johnny Polito slides on that dive bomb into that position and grabs that spot back. Darden Brown crosses the line, so just in recovery mode there for him. Jim Policina takes the win by 48 seconds. Johnny Paletto into P2. A big welcome to the Black Commodore. Rand McGlurkin, the Black Corvette. What a drive. Greg Lynch looking for the Martin. There he is, coming over Jane Hill. Now Aidan Munga in the Datsun or the Nissan. Darden Brown in the Mitsubishi Galant. Then we've got Warren Clellan and Rand McGlurkin off the back here. This is going to be a bit of fun, Emma.
I would have said mayhem, but sure, fun.
Yeah,
Fun's
from
good.
here, we're 100 metres from the edge of the track. It's going to be fun from here. Tim Wolf wants to get on with it. Look at him. He's like, come on, everyone. Let's shake this.
Yeah,
Let's
he needs
give
a good
this
start.
Really good shake. I reckon the starter's going to bring them right down to about grid box 3 before he lets them go. He wants them all on the straight, so they all take off at once here. Have a look at Ben McLeod. He wants a bit of Weissach badge work on the front of that General Motors car, doesn't he? He wants some sweet German loving. That's what he wants. And they get themselves ready to go. Have a look at Dean Cam. He's popped the nose out, the rolling start, and away we go. And let's get that boogie down to turn 1. Here comes the Corvette.
Oh, I can't
Down
watch.
the outside he goes. Tim Wolf has just absolutely holding on there. And Cameron Rees gave Dean Cam just 1 millimetre to make that move. Jim Policina slots in there as well. Stephen Sluger in the next one of the 997s in the mix here as well. A Commodore, 2 Commodores. It'll be Jim Policina that slides on the inside of Ben McLeod. The Porsche goes over the hill to try and chase out of Tim Wolf. Dean Cam gets all sorts of jiggy over the top of Jane Hill and settles it all back down again to get to the flip-flop. But here comes Jim Policina in a supercar in sports sedan trim. Under brakes now. The Porsche holding it up there on the inside. The Commodore loops right around the outside. No one wants it coming together to hurt their precious machinery in this particular race. But what a frantic start to this race. It was that guy there, his ever-present pro stock drag starting, whether it's rolling starts or standing starts. Dean Cam just comes into his own off the start line. But this is a General Motors drag for position number 2.
Oh, I can't talk, Darren.
You're going to have to,
This
Em. I
is
can't
way
do this all
too
by
much
myself.
for me to handle. Oh my God. Okay. So Tim Wolf has got the lead, which is fantastic for him, but my God, that was an exciting start, and it's not going to calm down at all with these two going at each other.
I tell you what, this is a really significant race meeting in the history of the Victorian State Circuit Racing Championships, and I'm feeling the pressure right now during these sports cars. George Vidovic has come home to Australia for a little while after many years in the US racing, and he's joined us in the commentary booth, and I just feel like this behemoth of a man coming over the top of me. But it's great to have George back at the track. Can't wait to see a Python racing car back out in sports cars again as well. But Dean Cam, he's doing it well here, and they're just holding up. I would suggest they're holding up Cam Rees at the moment. The Porsche wants to run wild and free like Tim Wolf is out at front at the moment, 4.3 second lead. And this is what it's all about. Have a listen to that Calibra thump down the straight. A Dodge NASCAR engine. And have a look at these two. A couple of bespoke sports sedans. Don't be mistaken, these cars, neither of them are ex-supercars. These are bespoke built sports sedans. The only thing on these two cars that would be a supercar thing is the tyres on number 72. He likes a bit of supercar compound. But have a look at this. Johnny Paletto, home-built sports sedan, and a couple of Weissach. You get the feeling the sports car guys are going, oh, I just want to survive this.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that, but also I'm in a Porsche, but these guys are as quick.
Yeah, what do you mean they built this car in their shed?
Yeah.
A multi-billion-dollar facility in Weissach that built these things. There's that Cayman. And right behind the Cayman is Rand McGlurkin in that the Grim Ruiner sponsored outfit, which is Rand himself.
It's almost a pre-requirement if you have an HSV to have your elbows out, Darren. And I think that's what the Porsche guys are worried about, just to be honest.
Yeah, Deer Park's not too far from
Oh,
here.
come on, Steve. Let's go. Steve Sluger coming down on the inside of turn 1. Oh, lovely start. And Andrew Smith got through as well. How did that happen?
Slid in there as well. And
Fantastic
Ben
work.
left the door open, so he knew that they were coming.
Nice bit of respect.
He is just struggling just a little bit. They thought they got the tyre problem. I reckon they've got rid of 90% of the tyre problem, but he is still just locking up from time to time. Greg Lynch in the background there, and there comes the GT4. The superior balance of the GT4 really stands out with these lurching sports sedans around it as we come down into turn 6. These guys are 4, 5, 6, 7 on the road in this mix-up here. John Ippolito won't open up the corner, not for a second for Steve Sluger. The 97 will be one wide black Commodore. And just listening to that magnificent Dodge power plant that the Grim Ruiner has got. Here he comes, there it is down the straight, and absolutely pounds the ground as he goes down the straight here. I feel as though he needs to turn left and do a couple of laps of the Thunderdome with that NASCAR engine in the Calibra.
Would be nice to see, actually.
It would be very nice to see. I'd applaud that, that's for sure. Ben McLeod now, have a look at this. Greg Lynch has got his mirrors full with this nimble car out there at the moment of Anthony D'Alessandro. And there's a couple of different technologies being employed here. It's cubic inches versus smart inches, I would suggest. Poise and development.
I'm not going anywhere near that,
You're
Darren.
not, don't go. So the Porsche now balancing on all 4 wheels nicely. Greg Lynch just balancing on the front wheels. Threshold of braking for Lynchy.
Oh,
And
Anthony
he is not
mixing
going
it.
to let the Porsche through.
No, but well, good on Anthony for having a try. He's showing the nose, he's letting him know he's there. He's filling his mirrors with black GT4 goodness. Let's see if he can make a go of it. Oh, that sound, Darren.
I don't know, what are you talking about? The 5 litre, the
All
6
of
litre,
it.
or the 4
All
litre?
of it.
Oh, Darden
Oh.
Brown goes round in the only 2 litre out there. He's thrown it all away. That's a shame. And go for a replay here, getting a good look at John Ippolito. That was when Andy Smith went through on him. And this is continuing on. We go back out over Mount Jane. Tim Wolfe is leading this race brilliantly, doing a tremendous job in the 992 GT3 Cup car, the brand new car. Here's Dean Cam. He's currently number 2 on the road. So it is sports car, sports sedan, sports sedan, sports car, sports sedan, sports car, sports car, sports sedan, sports sedan, sports car.
Was that fun?
It's not like it's a state of origin or anything, but let's have a look at it. Outright, it is Tim Wolfe leading over Dean Cam and Jim Policina. Jim is ranging up on the back of Dean. Dean had a steering component failure in the last race. That's why he withdrew, and that is rare. In fact, we're seeing some rare anomalies here this weekend. The cars that don't normally have things go wrong are starting to have go wrong, and I'm going to suggest it's the ripple strips or the curbs here at Calder. They're bigger, they're higher, they're more aggressive than anywhere else we go.
The guys are coming out with a wee bit of head wobble after their races here. They do feel like they're being bashed about a little bit. It's a bit more than porpoising that we saw in the last few years of Formula One. It's pretty violent at some points, especially in these Porsches. But to their credit, they're doing it, and they're doing it really well.
So Tim Wolfe leading, Dean Cam, Jim Policina, Cam Reeves, Steve Sluger in P5, Andy Smith in 6, John Ippolito in the sports sedan, the floor pan class leading car, number 97. Then it's Ben McLeod in behind him, Greg Lynch, all 3 floor pan sports sedans. Then it's Alessandro in the GT4, Rand McGlurkin Jr. Then we've got young Carmody in the mix there as well. Aidan Monga, Warren Clellan in the Mark car, the Mark Mazda. And this battle here is for P2 and 3 on the road. Essentially for the weekend, this will decide P1 for sports sedans going after this race. So this is the final race for the sports sedans and the sports cars. And this is actually quite a focus in this race because these two have both had a race win each this weekend. And you get the feeling now on the ascendancy is Jim Policina. But Dean Cam, don't ever take anything away from this. Now a veteran Victorian and national sports sedans. And I don't mean that in any derogatory manner. He's just been doing it for so long. And knows when to turn it up. And he's turning it up now. And when he turns it up, those flames lick out the side of his car. And down the chute he goes. Dean gets, there's those flames again. It's a nice run. You get the feeling that Jim Policina is waiting for a moment to pounce here. He's poised to take Dean Cam. And Dean just goes about it. He won't actually be looking in the mirrors to see where Policina is. He'll be just eyes forward. And if Policina appears, then Dean will give him the room that he needs. genuine hard races, both of these guys. In fact, almost the same the way both of them go about it. It's maximum attack all the way through, and they leave nothing to chance out there. They will give each other the room because they both know they've both won championships, and they know that to gather points, you've got to get to the checkered flag. 6.5 minutes left in this one.
Yeah, Darren, it's really interesting to see the top 4 guys at the moment are all in the 101s, or the 61s as you would say. To have like these sports sedans and the production sports cars be at the same track time is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It's a good measure.
Like when you look at budget and running
yeah.
costs and all that kind of stuff, it's pretty
Absolutely.
phenomenal to think that you could be in the sports sedans and be taking it to, you know, the 997s and the 991 Cup cars.
Guys are just getting through on Tegan Collins in her sports sedan, that RX-7 with the V8 in the front of it. It's not a rotary-powered RX-7, it's a V8-powered RX-7. There's Aidan Monga. Actually, this is a good comparison between these two. This is nice. I like to see this. This is the 24 of Joseph Carmody and Aidan Monga. They both started on the same row of the grid, and they're still together. So a good test. There's the factory-built production sports car and the bespoke floor pan style of sports sedan. And Aidan does a tremendous job piecing this car together. And to keep up, and for him, he'd be super proud that he's keeping up in one of these GT3 Porsches.
Absolutely, and Joseph actually didn't make it out for the last race, if you recall, Darren. He had an earthing wire issue, so his cylinders kind of went kaput. So they got it fixed, and he's back out on track today, and he's doing a great job handling this car. And this is the most manual of the Porsches out there this weekend.
Yeah, I like the technical terminology of going kaput too with the cylinders, Em. That leaves a lot to the imagination there. It's well drilled down on the technicality of that one.
Just straight to the point.
Yeah,
Darren.
straight to the point, kaput. That's it, done. Catch us later.
Yeah.
Greg Lynch now, another good one here. This is where water finds its level as well. Greg Lynch in a floor pan sports sedan and the GT4 Cayman RSCS of Anthony D'Alessandro. You can't get any more than that, can you? A Rensport Club Sport. That's everything. Dean Cam slowing.
Oh,
No.
what a shame.
No, not again. I have never seen Dean Cam slow in 2 races in a row, let alone over a weekend or a season. Gary Roberts, the guy that does a lot of the spanner work on this car, will be scratching his head. He is a guy that does not leave any stone unturned, a perfectionist. And this will be hurting both of those two guys. Don't worry about the points in the championship. Don't worry about the result in this race. The fact that their car's broken down will be just gutting those two guys. So Dean coming up the return road.
Meanwhile, D'Alessandro is not letting Lynch forget he's there at all, staying on him, curve for curve. It's great viewing.
Away we go. Up the straight again. Dean Cam retiring. I have never said that twice in one day, but that is a crying shame for Dino. He parks it away. Jim Policina will take the round as far as the sports sedans are concerned. 6.4 seconds between him and Tim Wolf out in front in what is the newest piece of equipment on track, a 992 GT3 Cup car. And, well, for all intents and purposes, the expectation would be that he'd be leading this race. Up over the hill, the dentist from the northern suburbs, Greg Lynch, in that HRT tribute livery. Even his driving suit and helmet are in tribute liveries there as well. Talking about tribute liveries, Steve Tate working on the Coca-Cola car to go racing in a couple of weeks' time there as well. Big shout out. Go, Steve. Get the job done. And we are closing in 3 minutes and 8 seconds. That's a good number, 3:08, looking at a Holden. Oh, Carmody goes round. Not what we wanted to see. That will let Aidan Munger come through in that Nissan. And there goes that massive Calibra. Just have a listen to it. It is absolutely ground-poundingly cool. Rand McGlurkin has given that car a rebuild over the last couple of years or so. Had an issue yesterday with a starter motor component, and you can imagine how many Dodge NASCAR engine starter motors are lying around in Australia, like 0. The big Mopar does sound the goods, and it's great that he's got it on track. And is that Johnny Polito slowing as well? Another sports sedan dropping to the wayside. Here we go. down a replay down at turn 6. Carmody all on his own. The Porsche pendulum took over and looped it around right back at the same bit of track now with Greg Lynch and the Anthony D'Alessandro Porsche Cayman GT4.
Yeah, have we got a moment here, Darren, to listen to that Calibra coming past?
I think we have.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Here we go. Oh, that rumble, seriously.
I tell you what, though, it's got the pace to track down the Cayman as well. So drives alongside. There was a yellow flag there for Ippolito's car. Tyre smoke down there at turn 1 as well. Doesn't look like anyone's gone off. Just a lock up there. And I think that's probably been... Yeah, to be Ben McLeod, I would. We didn't get the vision of it, but certainly would expect that. The Calibra's gone through now on the Cayman RSCS GT4, and there is our race leader, and he is hunting hard now. He's lapped everyone up to position number 10 in the 992 GT3 Cup.
Airborne
and
action.
Airborne over
Love
Jane
it.
Hill. Air under the front wheels of the 66, like he did this morning. So Tim Wolf. Gee, the second date's going great, isn't it?
Third date now. He's
Third
definitely loving all those jumps and bumps.
Third
So
date.
he's well in a groove now, putting it all together and having a fun time out there with the 992.
So we got 48 seconds left on the time certain clock. So we get another extra lap on top of things there as well. So I would suggest we've got another 2 laps at least for Tim Wolf, our race leader. That's 15 laps completed. And, well, last time through we saw the Calibra going through on D'Alessandro there as well. So let's have a bit of a read through the positions with 20 seconds left to go. Tim Wolf leads over Jim Policina, and that's an 8.7 second lead. Cam Reese is in third in the sports car, the Porsche. Then it's the sports car of Steve Sluger and Andy Smith rounding out our 5. Ben Lynch is driving really well here this afternoon for a 6th place in this race, and it will be 2nd sports sedan home. Greg Lynch will be 3rd sports sedan home, and Rand McGlurkin at the moment with 4th sports sedan home. So that is awesome for Rand that he's been able to turn up the wick and really enjoy all of his slave labour that he does on that particular sports sedan. He loves to hate it and he hates to love it, but really cool.
Just watching the body language on Tim and this car, he's certainly put it all together and really enjoying the drive. The tentativeness is gone.
Last lap board down to Tim Wolf goes out as we go down into turn 1. We just saw the Grim Ruiner driving up the side there to have a go at Greg Lynch. So it was Sports Sedan v Sports Sedan down there in turn 1. Aidan Munger. There goes to Sandro. Carmody, Warren Cleland as well. There's Ben McLeod lapping Tegan Collins. And Tegan had a bit of a spin with Dean Cam in the last race. A lock-up on that right front. That issue is nowhere near as bad as what it was for Ben, but they've still just got the magic wand out. Oh, there's another one. Maybe it has returned in the Phillip Island Cottage Black Mamba Racing entry. Checkered flag has fallen for Tim Wolf with Jim Policina in P2. Rees is 3rd. Stephen Sluger, Andy Smith. And Ben McLeod, Greg Lynch will be the next one home.
Interesting, Darren. Dean Cam has the fastest lap for the race that Tim Wolf couldn't get near today.
Yeah, it is interesting. A 1:09, and it's a 1:01.1. So 0.22 of a second between those two there. Oh, there's the Ippolito car. That's why he was parked off. He's got a right-hand rear tyre destroyed. So Tim Wolf takes the victory over Jim Policina on the line there. Cameron Rees, Stephen Sluger making the way through, and Andy Smith also in the mix. The field just motoring their way around, and John Ippolito with that top tyre making his way back to the paddock as well. And Ben McLeod now comes to the line. Tim Wolf comes to the line for a second time around. And, well, the confusion reigns there. The Grim Ruiner gets his way through there, ran McGlurkin into position number 8. And that's how they finish. Emma Dean, what a ripper.
I know.
I reckon we should combine them again.
You should ask them.
Yeah, I'm here for the TV entertainment.
Great for spectators.
Absolutely fantastic for the entertainment factor as we see sports cars and sports sedan crews alike making their way back into the infield. Next up on track, I'm going to catch my breath, but next up on track is E30s, and they will be out very soon. Thanks, Em.
Well, what a race for sports sedans. Jim Policina, that was spectacular. You've taken out the race victory. You must be very proud with that effort.
Yeah, it's been a solid weekend, 3 race wins. Qualifying didn't go our way, and Dean Cam broke my lap record on the last race, unfortunately, but we'll come back next time and have another crack at that, but it's been great.
For the viewers at home, could you just explain briefly what it's like to race a bona fide V8 supercar?
Supercar's built to a certain package, obviously. You've got the 5-litre engine. They're designed to do a certain job. They've got a spooled rear end, so you've got to drive them in a particular way. You can't get too aggressive on the throttle. You've got to wait to see the corner exit before you pick it up, otherwise they just blow wide. But they're a lot of fun once you get your head around them.
Thank you, Jim. Well done again. We'll let you go back to New South Wales because obviously you've got to catch a flight tonight.
Indeed. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.